Hey everybody, Craig with Single Length School coming back at you with another lesson today. And as you know, here at Single Length School, our goal is to help you golf smarter, not harder, to lower those scores. So today, our lesson is going to cover something I've gotten quite a few questions about recently, especially since golf seems to be opening up and just about everybody around the world is now golfing coming out of the pandemic. So we're going to cover the short game, chipping. I'm going to give you a tip on how you can do it well, regardless of whether you're using one length irons or traditional irons. So what do you say? Let's get the class started. All right, everyone, before we get rolling into class today and get you this tip, what I want to do is remind you, if you're new to the channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications bell. That way you know when we release a new video, you know when we go live with something that we do. I did miss this week's hole-in-one challenge. I will get it out. I will go live. Just some scheduling things, some things have come up. My daughter started softball on Tuesday night, so I couldn't do the Tuesday at 9, but I'm gonna find a better time to get back on that. But again, subscribe, hit the notifications bell. Facebook, Instagram at Single Length School, on Twitter at One Length School, and you can always email me, singlelengthschool@gmail.com. And before we get rolling, first of all, guys, I wanna say thank you to all my subscribers. This week, we eclipsed the 400 subscriber mark. So we've got a lot of people watching. Thank you guys for everything. Tell your friends, tell your buddies, if they need some help, come see us, come check out our channel. And again, I'm always easy to reach. So again, those methods we just talked about, make sure you're doing that. You can get a hold of me. So the question, as I said in the intro, is how can I get better at chipping? And I know a lot of you are using one length irons. Some of you are here watching are using traditional irons. I know a bunch of guys that are using one length irons and using traditional length wedges. These tips are going to help you regardless of what type of wedge you're using, whether it's a one length or a traditional length wedge. So first thing I always get asked is, what should I be using around the greens? Great question. I typically tell everybody, and listen, when it comes to chipping, there's a million ways to do it. 100 guys are going to tell you how to do it. This way I'm teaching you is one to ensure that the ball is on the green. I'm not trying to have you hole it. We're going to have you get it closer and learn how to distance control, but this may not be a method that is ideal for everyone. But again, this is what I've done to improve my chipping. So around the greens, I typically use my 60. Now, I also do carry, recently I switched over to a 64 because the course I've been playing a lot. I do have some more need for a 64 over one of my higher clubs, so I actually pulled out the utility iron. I'll swap it out depending on the course, but so I've been using 64. Last night in league, that was the club I went to for chipping. Same technique. My 64 is not one length, guys. I will tell you that. It's a Cleveland 64 degree. It's the standard traditional length. It's not a one length. But again, if you don't have a 64, take a 60. If you don't have a 60, take your sand wedge. Whatever your highest lofted club is, 56, 60, 64, whatever it may be, that's the club I want you to use and practice and get comfortable with around the greens. Now, when it comes to chipping, you're gonna hear some guys get it on the green fast or try and get it high and get it to stop. The technique I'm gonna show you, you can do both of those with a couple quick changes. But the first thing I wanna do is show you guys the technique. Now, if you guys have seen my swing, I don't have a traditional looking swing. My swing's a little unorthodox, and there's a reason for it. My full swing, I typically take my hands back first. I don't start rotating. I take my hands back, lock them in place, and then rotate. The reason for that with the full swing is so when I get up to the top of my swing, I don't overcock up here and get myself out of position. If I cock here and I'm in position, then it's just rotating the body and releasing. That is how I want you to chip. So this is how I want you to chip. The first thing I want you to do is to get comfortable taking that club back with your hands first. Turn your hands first. Just practice this a few times. Get used to that feel. And all you have to do is pull it until you feel this muscle in your front arm actually tighten up. It doesn't need to be way back here. When you feel that muscle tighten on the outside of your arm, that's all the further you need to go. So get used to that. Sit around the house and just work with your wrist a little bit like this. Just do that. Because from there, the rest of the chip's all going to be a shoulder turn. Just like you're putting. When you putt, it's all shoulders. Your wrists aren't turning. So with chipping, I want you to get that same type of feel. Only we're going to break the wrist and then we're going to turn. Now, in terms of stance, how should you stand and what should it look like? Well, when I chip, my feet are pretty tight, almost right under my shoulders. Not shoulder width, but right under my shoulders. Next thing I want to do is put my weight to my front foot. And I mean a lot of weight, almost to where you can balance on that front foot, lift up your back foot. I want you to get it. You're going to look like you're falling over forward. Get a balance, but get a lot of that weight on that front foot. The reason for that is that's going to allow you to come down on the ball. So regardless of the lie, if it's sitting down, nestled in some rough, or if it's sitting up, you're still going to be able to come down and contact the ball. That's one of the biggest things I see a lot of my students, a lot of guys I play with fail at when they're chipping is making solid contact with the ball. So by getting your weight forward, it's going to allow you to actually come down and make solid contact on that ball. So now we've got two things we're putting into play. So now we've got our weight forward, and when we go take our swing, we're cocking those wrists first. We're cocking them first. From there, we're not covering ball position yet. I'm going to cover that last for a specific reason. But so we've got our weight forward, we've taken our grip, we cock back, and then we're just going to turn the body and hold through the swing. It's all shoulders and all body turn from here. I don't want you releasing these wrists. You release these wrists, and that's where you're going to cause yourself a lot of problems. We're trying to get it on the green. So when I start and I take these wrists back, I'm locked here. This is the way I should follow through. See how that club is trailing behind my hands? That's what I want you to get comfortable with. That's going to allow you solid contact and make you get the ball onto the green. That's the goal with this, is get it to the green. Too many times I see guys chipping across the green or not getting onto the green because they're not following proper techniques. Their wrists are breaking down. They're about on their back foot. Guys, this is all about getting it onto the green where you can putt. Listen, if it equals a bogey because you went one chip and two putts, that's great, because if not, you may be double or triple bogeying. So we got to think about just getting it onto the green. So again, weight on the front foot, cock those wrists and shoulder turn and hold that follow through. Cock and through and hold it. That is your chipping technique. And your distance control is all based on your shoulder turn. So if I'm short-sided and I've got a chip, I'm just going there. That's it. And don't slow down on your downswing. Follow through. If you come back and say you come back to this point, I want you to finish opposite side. So none of this. I don't want you stopping, because that's where you chunk it and it never makes the green. I want you following through and holding those wrists. Hold those wrists. That's going to help create some of the loft that you need. Now, next question. How do I control my loft and my distance? Well, we talked about this a little bit earlier. There's one simple way to do it. All right, controlling your loft. So if you need the ball to stop a little bit faster, because the pin's tighter to you. You don't have a lot of room to let it run out. I want that ball right inside that front foot. So you're inside that front foot, you go here, here, follow through, and that creates a higher trajectory, a little more spin to get that ball to stop when you're chipping it. Now, what if the ball or the pin and the hole is cut on the opposite side of the green and you've got the ability to run it out? Well, real simple. The ball goes to the back foot. That's going to launch it lower, allow it to hit on the green and roll. So, same thing. It's just different ball position. Weight front, wrist cocked, and follow through. That's all it is, guys. Front foot, back foot. That's how you can control up and down when you're chipping like this. Again, speed and distance control is all controlled by this shoulder turn. The less you rely on your wrist and the less you're doing with your wrist when you're chipping, your results are going to get better. You're going to be able to control it because you can control your core, the bigger muscles, better than you can your smaller wrist muscles. So, guys, follow this tip. If you like this tip, hit that thumbs up button, give us a like on the video, go try it out for yourself, hit the practice screen, get comfortable with it. Don't try it for 5-10 minutes and say, oh, it doesn't work. It will work, but you have to put in the work with it. So one last final go through, weight, wrist, shoulder turn, and stay down. Stay down. Don't stand up, stay down. That's the tip for you this week. I hope that helps you. It's going to help you golf smarter, not harder. So don't forget, hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that notifications bell. Facebook, Instagram, come find us. Twitter, same thing. And if you guys have any questions, anything you want to see, any tips, singlelengthschool@gmail.com. Send me an email. I'm more than happy to get back to you. And guys, that does it. That's the end of today's class. Keep it in the fairways, and I'll see you next week.